Today, we will explore the strangest and most forgotten home features from the American Wild West. The Root Cellar Panic Room. Have you ever heard of the Henderson family in Abilene in 1878? They built such a cellar underground, right behind their house. On the outside, it looked like any other root cellar, a small mound of earth with a heavy wooden door. But inside, the story was completely different. The cellar walls were built of stone 3 feet, about 0.9 meters, thick, sturdy enough to withstand most crude weapons of the time, from axes to rifle bullets. To avoid detection, the cellar had hidden vents, often disguised by wild bushes or blending into the natural terrain around them. Inside the cellar, there was enough space for a family of 7 to shelter for 3 days. They would have enough water, food reserves, and a few other essentials to survive. The thick walls of the cellar were also equipped with small eye-level holes called firing ports. From this position, those inside could observe and shoot back at attackers without exposing themselves. Here, children as young as 5 years old were trained on how to run into the cellar at the first sign of danger. They had to know the way, how to open the disguised door, and how to find the safest hiding spot. The outhouse arsenal. Do you think an outhouse was just a place to relieve oneself? Surprisingly, they were disguised as unexpected firing positions, often located a distance from the main house. Western settlers transformed this simple and often overlooked structure into the most unexpected defensive position, a secret arsenal and a strategic sniper point. Its unassuming appearance made it an advantage. Robbers or attackers often ignored outhouses when searching property, as they wouldn't suspect such a dirty place to contain a deadly secret. Look closely at the outhouse walls. They had small holes cleverly disguised as vents. At a glance, they were just small openings for air circulation, helping to reduce odors. But in reality, they were firing ports, designed to fit the barrel of a rifle or pistol. The story of Charlie Morrison in Dodge City is a vivid example. He was known for being meticulous and vigilant. Charlie didn't just store his weapons in the main house. Under the floor of his outhouse, he hid a Winchester rifle, 2 Colt revolvers, and 50 rounds of ammunition. The false floor cache. In a world where laws were loose and danger lurked everywhere, protecting property and valuables was a top priority. Wild West homes were not just residences, but a labyrinth of secret caches. One of the most popular and effective features was the false floor cache, also known as the underfloor vault secret cache. Most homes of that era were built with raised wooden floors. No one suspected that beneath those seemingly ordinary floorboards lay secret compartments designed to store emergency survival items. It contained the most essential things for survival: ammunition, several days' worth of food reserves, first aid medical supplies, warm clothes, and clean drinking water. Gold coins were also carefully hidden, not just in one place, but often scattered across various compartments to minimize the risk of total loss. The rifle rest windowsill. When Hollywood depicts the Wild West, we often see gunslingers standing heroically outdoors, firing with ease. But in reality, settlers living in homes developed much more sophisticated defensive techniques. Observe a typical Western house. Its windowsills were made unusually wide and had specific grooves carved into their surface. These grooves were not random. They were calculated to fit perfectly with popular rifles of the time, such as the Winchester 1873 or the Springfield trapdoor. When a rifle was placed in this groove, it would be securely fixed, allowing the shooter to aim much more stably. This feature enabled defenders to shoot accurately from distances up to 200 yards, about 180 meters. Many windowsills were also slanted slightly downwards. This angle allowed the shooter to easily aim at galloping horsemen or attackers crawling close to the house. The trapdoor kitchen. The kitchen was always the heart of the home, where families gathered, meals were prepared, and everyone spent the most time. Therefore, it was also one of the most vulnerable and dangerous rooms when intruders broke in. To counter this threat, Western settlers developed a clever and bold feature: the trapdoor kitchen. This feature was a trapdoor hidden under the kitchen floor, often perfectly disguised under removable floorboards or beneath a heavy dining table. On the surface, no one could guess its existence. But when danger struck, this trapdoor could be opened quickly, allowing everyone to disappear in an instant. This trapdoor typically led directly down to a panic room or basement. In many cases, it was also connected to other secret tunnels leading to other buildings on the property. Imagine a family having dinner when they suddenly hear a violent knock or gunfire outside. In a flash, the father or mother would activate the trapdoor mechanism. The entire family would quickly slide down, vanishing from the attacker's sight, safe in the darkness of the cellar or tunnel. The kitchen was where they were most often present, so placing an escape route here ensured they always had a safe path to retreat. Looking back at these unique features, are you surprised? Please share your thoughts in the comments. The chimney shooting platform. From a simple structure, the chimney became a strategic position, offering an advantage in visibility and firepower. Inside, instead of just a simple smoke channel, there was a sturdy iron ladder system leading up to a small platform hidden under the roof. From here, defenders could observe all movements and shoot rifles from afar. This shooting platform was designed with meticulous care. It might have small holes or special slits for rifle barrels to protrude without revealing the shooter's position. Some platforms even had hooks for ammunition pouches to ensure defenders had enough ammunition for a prolonged engagement. In case of danger, families could use fire to signal neighbors on nearby farms. A special column of smoke or a large fire on the chimney could be a sign of trouble, calling for help or warning others of a threat. A typical Thompson family home had not just one but 3 different shooting platforms integrated into their chimney. This allowed multiple defenders to cover different directions simultaneously. Furthermore, this chimney was also equipped with an escape rope ladder to the roof and an emergency storage compartment inside. The suicide porch. The front porch, a place usually used for relaxation and welcoming guests, was turned into a deadly trap in the Wild West. The collapsing porch, also known as the suicide porch, was a brutal feature, designed to collapse on command, trapping or eliminating anyone standing on it. Imagine a spacious wooden porch with a roof and supporting columns. On the outside, it looked completely normal and inviting. However, the secret lay in its structure. The porch supports were not permanently fixed. Instead, they were designed to be quickly removed or destroyed, causing the entire porch structure and anyone standing on it to fall into a pit below. Some families even went further in their brutality. They dug a deep pit beneath the porch and filled it with sharpened stakes, causing severe injury or instant death. There were also families who planted explosives under the porch. The Johnson Ranch near Tombstone is an example. Their porch was designed not only to collapse but also to explode, turning it into a terrifying booby trap. The Indian trading window. In a context of tension and frequent confrontations between settlers and Native American tribes, safe communication was crucial. Many Wild West homes developed a unique feature, the trading window. They designed a special tool for interaction without needing to open the main door and expose themselves to vulnerability. The trading window usually had a distinctive design: thick iron bars for enhanced security, a small shelf for placing goods, and a wooden slot for exchanging items. You can imagine it like a small bank window, but made of crude wood and iron. The iron bars were not just to prevent intrusion, but also a symbol of boundaries, of caution. The small shelf outside allowed settlers and Native Americans to place goods on it without direct contact. The wooden slot was where letters, small items, or money could be exchanged safely. Beyond commerce, this window also played a role in diplomacy and survival strategies. It allowed both sides to communicate, understand each other's intentions, and sometimes build peaceful or at least non-conflicting relationships. The window-weight weapons. Sliding windows were a common convenience in old homes, and to ensure they operated smoothly, counterweights were often hidden within the wall frame. However, in the Wild West, these ordinary window counterweights were transformed into dangerous defensive weapons. This is an excellent example of turning a harmless object into a deadly tool when needed. Hidden within the wall cavity, the iron or lead counterweights, weighing about 9 kilograms, 20 pounds, helped balance the window's weight. But instead of being just simple cylindrical metal blocks, these counterweights were specially shaped to be weapons. Some were carved with sharp edges, turning them into clubs, ready to be wielded for direct attack. The impact force of a 9-kilogram object falling from above onto an intruder's head would certainly cause severe injury or even death. Other counterweights were even more sophisticated. They were fitted with chains, turning them into a type of flail. This allowed the defender to swing the weapon with greater force, delivering a devastating blow. An accurate swing could knock out or inflict a fatal wound. The double wall secret room. In the constant face of attacks by Native Americans or criminal gangs, having a safe hiding place was absolutely essential. One of the most unique and effective features was the double wall secret room. From the outside, everything seemed neat and unremarkable. But inside, many houses were built with double walls, creating a secret room hidden between 2 layers of wall. These rooms were often about 3 feet, about 0.9 meters, wide, and ran the length of the house, providing significant space to hide or store items. The entrance to the secret room was usually cleverly concealed behind removable panels or behind heavy furniture like bookshelves, wardrobes, or false fireplaces. Only the homeowner knew how to open this entrance, and it often required a secret mechanism such as a hidden latch or a special lever. When closed, the wall would completely show no trace of the hidden room, blending into the general architecture of the house. The main purpose of these rooms was to hide valuables such as money, important documents, or precious keepsakes. If you could choose one feature to incorporate into your home today, Which one would it be? Why? The weaponized well. Water wells were the lifeline of every farm and settlement in the Wild West. They not only provided drinking water, but also symbolized self-sufficiency. But in a world full of danger, even this lifeline was transformed into a gruesome defensive weapon: the weaponized well. On the surface, it looked completely harmless and essential. However, the secret lay in its internal structure. Most of these wells had false bottoms. Below that false bottom were hidden compartments beneath the water, used to store weapons, ammunition, and emergency supplies. In an emergency, the homeowner could access these compartments for necessary items that the enemy would never suspect. But the most gruesome part of this well was the trap mechanism. The well cover was designed to collapse. If an intruder, especially at night or in a panic, unfortunately stepped onto the well cover, it would collapse, dropping anyone into a 30-foot, about 9-meter deep pit of freezing water. Even if they were lucky enough to survive the fall, escaping would be nearly impossible. The well walls were lined with sharp iron spikes, firmly embedded in rock or wood, making any attempt to climb out painful and hopeless. The collapsible staircase. In two-story Wild West homes, staircases were not just simple pathways. They were transformed into strategic defensive tools, capable of turning the upper floor into an impregnable fortress. This was the collapsible staircase. On the surface, it looked completely normal. But what was hidden was that the steps were not permanently attached to the house. Instead, they were held by a complex system of pins and supports that could be quickly withdrawn. In the event of an attack, with just a simple action, defenders could collapse the entire staircase in an instant. When the staircase collapsed, it would completely block off the second floor, turning the upper floor into an impenetrable fortress. Attackers would be trapped downstairs, unable to reach those above, while defenders could shoot down from a safe position. Many staircases also had secret compartments integrated into each step. These compartments were used to store spare weapons, ammunition, and emergency supplies. The floor furnace trap. In some Wild West homes, even utilities like furnaces hid a deadly secret. The floor furnace trap was a terrifying feature, turning a source of warmth into a deadly fire pit, designed to trap and eliminate intruders. The difference was that this grate was not fixed but removable. When the grate was removed, it would reveal a pit about 6 feet, about 1.8 meters, deep, filled with glowing coals and roaring fire. These furnace traps were often placed near main entrances or along hallways, places where intruders were sure to pass. This ensured that the trap would be maximally effective. The grate was designed with a quick release mechanism, often able to be operated remotely via a string or a hidden lever. This allowed the homeowner to activate the trap unexpectedly, right under the intruder's feet. Imagine a gang of robbers storming into the house, stepping over the threshold, and suddenly an iron grate disappearing beneath their feet, plunging them into a fiery pit, the chamber pot bomb. Even the most personal and overlooked items in a home could be turned into dangerous weapons in the Wild West. The chamber pot bomb is a prime example of brutal ingenuity in defense, turning a harmless nighttime potty into a homemade grenade. Think of a porcelain or metal chamber pot, usually kept under the bed or in a corner of the room for nighttime use. No one would suspect that such a simple item could conceal a deadly threat. But Wild West settlers saw its other potential. When necessary, this chamber pot would be filled with gunpowder, a readily available explosive material at the time. Not only that, it was also stuffed with nails, broken glass, and anything that could cause harm upon explosion. From a waste receptacle, it transformed into a homemade shrapnel bomb, filled with sharp objects and capable of inflicting terrible injuries. Once filled, a simple fuse would be attached, turning it into a hand grenade. Are you still with us on this nostalgic journey? Leave yes in the comments to let us know you're enjoying it. The escape tunnel bed. When the house was under siege and there was no other way out, some Wild West families thought of a final solution: a secret escape route right beneath where they rested. This was the escape tunnel bed, a bed not just for sleeping, but also a doorway to freedom. This wooden bed looked quite large, sturdy, and completely normal. However, it was not placed directly on the floor. Instead, it was built on a raised platform with a hidden trapdoor underneath. This trapdoor was perfectly disguised, often as part of the floor or covered by a rug. Only the homeowner knew how to open it. When danger struck and there was no other option but to flee, the family could quickly roll out of bed and disappear through the trapdoor. This trapdoor led directly to escape tunnels outside the house. These tunnels were dug deep underground, regularly maintained and kept secret. This allowed the family to emerge hundreds of yards from the house, completely escaping the pursuit of attackers. The sophistication of this system was not limited to providing an escape route. These tunnels were designed to collapse behind them after the family had escaped. The poisoned doorknob. In the struggle for survival in the Wild West, nothing was off limits to use against enemies. Not even the seemingly most harmless details of a house. The poisoned doorknob was a terrifying feature, turning an everyday item into a silent weapon, capable of incapacitating or killing anyone who touched it without their knowledge. On the surface, it was no different from thousands of other doorknobs. But Wild West families coated the surface of these doorknobs and handles with poisons that could incapacitate or kill anyone who touched them. This poison was often derived from local plants known for their harmful properties, or were homemade compounds concocted from readily available ingredients. Toxins could be absorbed through the skin or cause extreme reactions upon contact. An intruder in haste or panic would suspect nothing when grabbing the doorknob. After just a few minutes or hours, the toxins would begin to take effect, causing discomfort, nausea, paralysis, or even death. The terrifying thing was that the homeowner's family had to have a separate marking and cleaning system to avoid self-poisoning. The kitchen knife launcher. The kitchen, once again, harbored deadly secrets. The kitchen knife rack, a familiar item in every household, was transformed in the Wild West into a terrifying and unexpected weapon. The kitchen knife launcher. This was not just a place to store knives, but an active attack system, capable of launching knives across the room with high accuracy. On the outside, it looked no different from the knife racks you see today. But inside that wooden casing was a sophisticated spring mechanism. This mechanism was designed so that when activated, it could fire sharp knives flying across the room with surprising force and speed. Some families even replaced ordinary kitchen knives with special throwing knives sharpened on both sides and balanced for optimal throwing ability. A hidden trigger or a discrete lever, often concealed behind a spice box or a small painting, was how this system was activated. With just a quick motion, all the knives on the rack could be launched in a few seconds, turning the peaceful kitchen into a battlefield of daggers. The collapsing roof defense. During a siege when intruders had already entered the house, Wild West settlers still had a terrifying ace up their sleeve: the collapsing roof defense. This was an extreme feature designed to cause chaos, block escape routes, and neutralize enemies by collapsing a section of the roof on command. The main purpose of this feature was to cause chaos and block the intruder's escape route. When the roof collapsed, it would create a large amount of debris, dust, and building materials falling down, trapping the intruders inside under the rubble. While the enemies were confused and trapped, the family could quickly escape through other secret exits that had been prepared. This feature required careful calculation and precise timing. It was often only used as a last resort when the house had been overrun and there was no other way to fight back or escape. Collapsing the roof not only harmed the enemies, but also destroyed a part of one's own home. But in a survival context, the family's safety came first: the false wall gun safe. In an era where firearms were essential tools for survival, storing them safely and accessibly was crucial. However, displaying weapons could also attract unwanted attention. To solve this problem, Wild West homes developed the false wall gun safe, a solution that hid an arsenal in plain sight without anyone suspecting it. An interior wall looked completely normal, sturdy, and blended into the room's architecture. But the secret was that this wall was not a real wall. It was actually a large gun safe perfectly disguised. This entire wall could pivot open, revealing a full arsenal inside. Disguise was key to the success of this feature. The false wall was perfectly camouflaged with wallpaper, furniture, and decorations so that no one could detect its existence. A mirror, a painting, or a wardrobe could be placed in front of the wall, or even mounted directly onto the secret door. The mirror communication system. In a world without phones or the internet, communication between distant farms or settlements was a major challenge. However, Wild West settlers utilized sunlight to create an innovative solution: the mirror communication system. This was a sophisticated method for sending messages across vast distances, based on the principles of Morse code and light. Homes were equipped with large mirrors, carefully placed in strategic locations, often on the roof or on a high platform. These mirrors were not just for reflection. They were meticulously positioned to reflect sunlight in coded patterns. The principle of operation was similar to Morse code, but instead of sound, they used long and short flashes of light. A long flash could represent a dash, and a short flash could represent a dot. By combining these flashes, they could send secret messages across vast distances to other farms or settlements that had established similar systems. The electrified fence pre-electricity. Before electricity became widespread, the concept of an electrified fence seemed impossible. However, in the Wild West, settlers created their own version of an electric fence, using a mechanical system to shock and injure intruders. Wooden or barbed wire fences were designed to surround the property. On the surface, they looked no different from any other fence. But underneath or hidden within the fence structure was a complex mechanical system with springs, weights, and lever mechanisms. This system was designed so that when pressure or contact was applied from the outside, it would create sudden movements, shocking or injuring the intruder. An example might be a series of wooden slats with sharp nails, held by tensioned springs. When an intruder touched the fence, the springs would release, causing these slats to suddenly snap out, stabbing or forcefully hitting the person. Or it could be a system of ropes attached to heavy objects. When the ropes were cut or pulled, the heavy objects would fall or swing out, delivering a sudden and painful blow. The swinging beam trap. When intruders had successfully bypassed outer defenses and entered the house, Wild West settlers still had a deadly surprise waiting for them. This was the swinging beam trap, a brutal system that turned a heavy wooden beam into a giant hammer, ready to crush anyone unlucky enough to pass underneath. Notice the ceiling of a wooden house, where heavy wooden beams were used to support the structure. On the surface, they looked completely normal, an integral part of the architecture. However, some houses were specially designed so that these heavy wooden beams could swing down from the ceiling. These beams were often disguised as structural supports or cleverly hidden with other materials, completely invisible to the intruder's eye. Only when activated would they suddenly spring into action. The activation mechanism could be a tripwire stretched across a pathway or a manual release mechanism operated by the homeowner from a safe hiding spot. When the trap was activated, the wooden beam would swing down with speed and force, enough to crush the intruder. Imagine a robber walking through the house, and suddenly a giant wooden beam collapses from above. The impact would cause severe injury, incapacitation, or even immediate death. The decoy house. Among all the home defense strategies in the Wild West, perhaps none was as unique and daring as building a completely fake house nearby. This was the ultimate home defense, a sophisticated trap designed to deceive and lure robbers, while the real family hid in a fortified and reinforced home. One house looked seemingly normal, perhaps a little dilapidated. The other house might look a bit newer or sturdier. Robbers, often greedy and in a hurry, would always look for the easiest and seemingly richest target. The decoy house was designed to play on this psychology. This lure house was not an empty structure. It was filled with worthless but seemingly valuable items. This could be old chests repainted, fake gold utensils, or old paintings. This strategy offered a huge tactical advantage. First, it diverted the attacker's attention away from the real target, allowing the family more time to prepare and plan their defense. If this video has ignited your passion for the Wild West, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our next historical culinary journey. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.